Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you're here. Why not relax and listen to a story or two? It's our vagabond story, from our first RV renovation to getting legal to actually getting to travel a bit. With our first renovation complete and a couple of day trips to Lake Michigan under our belts, we decided it's time to take a real trip. We figured we'd go east. It was the year of 2020, the year COVID-19 came to us all, the year we traveled in quarantine. Being self-sufficient in a vehicle seemed like a really good idea. With our medical work all taken care of, we started a short trip. It does sound like a lot of fun, stopping here and there, seeing what happens. A bit of upfront planning is a good idea too. For this trip, I tried a free app called Free Roam, and I used that to outline our trip. This is an open source outfit. It's good on a smartphone or computer. On the positive side, it really does seem to have nearly every campground and overnight place that's out there. It's nice to be able to put in GPS coordinates for locations. It does sort of direct you to Google Maps for traveling. That's all good when you have wireless internet. We decided to go to Philadelphia. Seems like a great place. We have some relatives there, and we have a whole load of stuff to bring over to Philly. We figured we should be able to drive easy and stop whenever we wished. Wendy and I got some time off, and one Monday afternoon we took off, heading east, past the rainbow over the church and into the driving rain. That afternoon we made it to Commodore Perry Service Plaza along the Ohio Turnpike. Hard rain all evening and even on the next day. We slept dry. The new roof actually works. We worried that the rest area noise would be a problem, but it didn't really bother us much. We slept just fine. A fine Wheelie House breakfast later, we were back on the road, back in the rain. I don't even think we stepped out of the Wheelie House the whole time. It's great to be self-contained. By afternoon, the rain had moved on, leaving us hot and sticky weather. But the AC seemed to work just fine, as we were driving at least. We chose to overnight at a Harvest Host place. It's our first real time on the road. The place we chose is in the hills of northeast Pennsylvania, a place called Star Vineyard. We thought we'd really need to buy electricity for the AC to get any type of sleep that night. But the weather had a different idea. The rainstorm that had brought all of that hot, humid air blew out, and by evening, it was cool and crisp and dry air. With all of our windows wide open, there was little need to spend the extra dollars we spent on electricity. We had a wonderful quiet sleep, the nice crisp mountain air. The next morning, we were looking over the rolling hills of a vineyard. Vagabond life is starting out great. After a slow breakfast and a nice walk, we took a couple of easy hours driving and arrived at Cordovas State Park. It's a little bit north of the Maryland line there, kind of in the middle of the state. We stayed there Thursday and Friday. Staying 2 days, I got the idea to level the Wheelie House. That was mostly pretty quick and easy enough, and it kind of seemed to make the stay a little bit nicer. Thursday was our sort of uncommitted day. So we took a couple of walks, did a few trails. We ran into one trail called Marianne, and we thought of our aunt. Oh, Friday we sort of packed up the campsite and moved over to the day use area and met some friends. The kids played in the lake, and we ordered pizza and relaxed under a big wide tree. The pizza delivery guy did have some trouble finding us, but we ran him down in the end and ended up with some pretty good tasting pizza. That evening, we moochdocking at a friend's place in Carlisle. That worked out good enough, just fine. Saturday, our friends took us to Boiling Springs. It's a little town in the Appalachian Mountains where cold spring water boils out at the base of a little mountain. It's really quite a nice place, and a place that has sort of special memories for our friends, and really for us too. It's really a clever little town, just a little bit south of Pennsylvania's capital city, and it's completely worth the trip. We walked in the, along the clear, really clear, spring-fed pond and relaxed by the old charcoal furnace and watched the magical water lap the shore. Next day, we headed to Philly. It was time to see our niece and her family. They just bought an old house, one of those houses that's grown over time, what I call an organic house. Most of the tools we own we passed on to her, and she'll need them. We spent an overnight there sleeping in the Wheelie House, parked along the side of the avenue. It was here that we learned that these quick-dry trousers that I bought had pockets that do not work. Every time I sat down, all of the contents of the pockets spilled out. I guess I'll have to work on that a little bit. Monday, it was time to head back to Michigan. We made the trip in one day. The cab updates, the new seats, the new flooring, the sound deadening material, did actually seem to work. The drive wasn't at all awful. We did stop, of course, several times for breaks. With a Wheelie House, it's really easy to keep sort of quarantined while traveling on the road. And that's really quite nice. And when we got back to Michigan, the rain was gone, only bright sun to bring us home. So that was our first sort of real outing with the renovated Wheelie House. I thought it'd be fun to sort of recap what actually happened. We stopped at a interstate rest stop, a Harvest Host, an actual camping visit at the state park, some moochdocking, and then parking along one of the avenues in downtown Philly. 5 steps, 5 overnights, 1 real campground. I wonder if this history is trying to tell us something about what our vagabond life will be like. The Wheelie House did just fine. It daintily sipped gas at about 9 miles to the gallon. We ran about 65 miles an hour down the interstate. The van seemed to be pretty happy at that speed. It went up and down the hills without really any trouble. All of those 10 gas-hungry cylinders purring right along. This particular trip ran us about 1,500 miles. Driving, on the other hand, was a complete pain in the neck. There's no cruising with this E450. Nope, I gotta keep my hands on the wheels and my eyes on the road at all times. On the other hand, the electrical system worked just fine. The bed and mattress were good. We slept just fine. We're still, of course, learning how to pack and what to keep and what to lose. But, that's a process of learning. By now, however, our family is calling and we're needed up north very soon. But that's another story.